You guys definitely need to try this recipe. A+, not just because I made it, but it's really good. Hey guys, welcome back to another product review. We've been doing a couple and the response has been really great. Today we're talking about the Samsung Smart Oven. This is a beast of a machine. I've been using it for about, I think since April already, so a couple of months, and I've used it extensively for different recipes and tried it out for different recipes. What's great about the Smart Oven is that it can do 6 different things. It can grill, it can microwave, it can steam, it has a yogurt and proofing function. Finally, it can also act as an oven, and they also have the slim fry feature that we're gonna use today, so we're gonna talk a little bit more about that. Delving in a little bit more in the different functionalities, the grilling functionality actually acts like a grill, which is fantastic because usually when you have these kinds of machines, you'd think it'd be tough to get that Maillard reaction, those burnt little crisp bits that are delicious and that really bring all the flavor to a dish. But with this, I've actually made a chicken barbecue recipe before. It actually works really well and you do have that grill effect. Next, with the steaming functionality, you can actually cook things like pasta, like rice, anything that requires a mixture of a little bit of water to cook down things. And you have the steaming bowl that you can put inside and get that cooked much faster than you usually would, but you retain all the nutrients and all the important nutritional information that the food actually has. Finally, the oven acts exactly as any type of oven would work. We actually posted a video where we did a whole roast chicken inside and it turned out nice and moist and juicy, so that was perfect. And the last one that I really like is the yogurt and proofing functionality. If you've never made yogurt at home before, it's really great, it's really fun, and it's best to do it with a controlled temperature, and that's what this gives you. All that aside, I'm gonna show you today how to do one of my favorite recipes. We're making an orange chicken, something that you need to cook in parts to get the sauce and the crispiness of the chicken right. So what we're gonna do first is actually cook the chicken. It's gonna have a little bit of batter on it, but you'll see it'll turn out just fine. We're using the slim fry function for that, and what that enables us to do is just cook a crispy chicken with a little bit less oil than you would usually use, which is great for everyone who's watching their weight. When you press slim fry, the hot blast technology kicks in. When you look into the oven, you have a lot of tiny little holes. And what happens there is this hot air comes out of these holes, creating an environment where the chicken or whatever else you put in there will actually cook all around. And what that enables us to do is just give us the crispiness that we're expecting from the chicken, yet it's gonna keep it nice and tender inside. Before getting into the bulk of the recipe, one thing that I like to do, which I found helps a lot, especially when you're cooking meats in the Smart Oven, is putting a tiny bit of oil on a plate, and what we're gonna do is get that plate hot so that once the chicken hits it, it'll actually start searing. So we're first gonna heat that up. Doesn't really matter what setting we put it on, we just wanna get it really nice and hot. Next, we're gonna make that sauce that's just gonna coat the chicken beautifully. So all we need to do is add in some sesame oil. You wanna put a lot of that because that's where a lot of that flavor comes in. Some soy sauce, a little bit of rice vinegar, some mirin or some rice wine just to give it a nice sweet bite, brown sugar. I have a mix of 50-50 cornstarch and flour here. We're just gonna put 1 tablespoon of that, and all of that just gets diluted. And finally, all we need is a little bit of orange zest. You could potentially add some orange juice, but when I've been doing this, I prefer actually adding just some orange zest, because the orange juice doesn't really kind of translate into a very orangey flavor, but the zest really does. So this is gonna be added right at the last minute, but before that, let's prep the chicken. So I got a whole egg, some salt, some pepper, really mix it kind of very crudely. We're then gonna go ahead and cut our chicken. I'm using some boneless chicken thighs here. Just make sure everything's cut around the same size so that it cooks nice and evenly. The skin stays on, the fat stays on, so that way we retain the juiciness. We're gonna chuck that in to the egg mixture, toss everything in, make sure everything's nicely coated. One by one, we then put that into our cornstarch and flour mixture. Shake off the excess, and then repeat for the remaining pieces. Then really quickly chop up some ginger and some garlic. Just a nice mince. This is gonna be added last minute into the dish. By now my pan should be nice and hot. Let's check on that. And then we're gonna go ahead and add in our pieces of chicken. You already hear a little bit of a sear, which is what I want it to happen. And I'm gonna make sure to space these out, but to still keep them quite close, because as the fat renders, I want that fat to kind of help cook the other pieces. Everything's ready to go, so just place the food inside. We're gonna use the slim fry function at program number 3, and second program will be number 3 as well, which is usually used for drumsticks. Go to the maximum heat, and then we're just gonna let the clock run a little bit. It should say something like 17 minutes, but I think around 13 to 15 minutes. We'll check on it, maybe take it out, maybe add the sauce at that point if it's already kind of like halfway to 3/4 done. So after about 17 minutes, we ran the whole program. Let's check on our chicken. Look at that, you got that nice crust that we were talking about. Perfect, it's actually really nice and crispy, which is exactly what we wanted. All we gotta do now is throw on the sauce, mix everything together, and then chuck it back in. All right, so chicken goes back in. So we're just gonna use the exact same functionality, because all we need is some sort of heat to come in. 5 minutes after, our sauce should be beautifully caramelized, just like this. All we gotta do now is toss everything together, because you want that sauce to be really sticky and all over. So just put that in a bowl. We're gonna chop up a little bit of coriander to go with it. Sprinkle that on. Outer layer is so key because it retains all the sauce that's in there, and that's what makes it so sticky and juicy and gooey. And when we were hitting it, right before we put the sauce, it was actually crunchy. So to say that it was done in a smart oven for me is quite astounding. You can hear that crunch. It's so juicy, it's almost incredible. And the best part about this is I just have one little platter to clean, that's it. Because everything else is so straightforward, right? So it's really convenient for people who don't necessarily have much space and who want kind of one appliance to do everything. You guys definitely need to try this recipe, A+. Not just because I made it, but it's really good. If you like that video, please make sure to watch more of the videos. We'll be doing many more unboxing and testing lots of different appliances, and hopefully it's helpful for you guys who are trying to decide if you want to buy something. But this is really good. Peace out.